What's up, people? What up? What up? How can I switch this shit to? Let me see. Should we put on some music? Is the question, my dear comrades. Like, general profiles. Sorry, I'm just trying to see if I can change the mode to light mode. Turn off max. Advanced. More settings, maybe? Why can't I change the mode here? Appearance, font size. Interesting. Alright, I'm just going to turn this off in my settings. Alright, hopefully this should take effect. Alright, I think I might have to reopen this. Let's check. There we go. Oh, I think I have to reset the source. Let's see. Arc. Properties. You see if the audio seems to be working. Let's put on some music. Alright. Alright, let's do some maintenance. Oh shit, not this. Go back. I think I need to do this. It's been a while since I've gone live on YouTube. No, it's not made for kids. Okay. Great, we're already live. So let's do this. Let's turn down this music a bit. So the goal today is to go through the high-level stable audio paper that came out today, which is text to audio model from Stable Diffusion, and just a conflict of interest disclaimer. I am an employee of Stable Diffusion, or Stability AI, the parent company of Stable Diffusion, Stable Arc, and as well as Stable Audio. So everything I'm saying, I'm just declaring it upfront that is a conflict of interest for me. But I am also a student of AI. So we're going to try to... Can I get rid of this banner? Or whatever. Let's get to it. Let me just change one thing. Shit, not this. I want to change the... I want to change the title on my YouTube stream. So what we're going to do is... Can I edit stream midway? As I said, it's been it's been a long time since I've done. Alright, so we're going to do this. And we're doing live stream, and I'll evaluate it later on. But so we're going to be checking out Stable Audio, the paper that came out, which is Stable Diffusion. Sorry, text to audio from Stability AI, company known for putting out Stable Diffusion. So let's do this. Let's get a high-level overview today. Alright, so we're going to read the abstract, the conclusion, and just get a sense of the introduction. And then we'll jump into our regular comfy UI stream. Yeah, I think that sounds like a pretty solid plan. So I am using this in, I'm viewing this in something called Readwise. And Readwise is a note-taking tool that you can use. I just remembered something. Let me just write it down so I don't forget it. Alright, that's fine. Potential for high quality stereo sound synthesis at 44.1 kilohertz. Alright. Introduction. So we're just doing a broad overview of the paper. We're not going to go reading the entire thing. We'll break this down throughout the week. Today the goal is to break it down from an abstract point of view, introduction, and conclusions. We'll look at the training data, architecture, etc. tomorrow. So once we do this high-level overview, we're going to then jump into our comfy UI builds. So current open models are not competitive against the state-of-the-art in terms of quality, coherent generation over long sequences, and inference speeds. Interesting point. Let me lower this volume so that it becomes a background volume, not the main thing. So trained on Creative Commons license, publicly available model and code along with attribution for use data. Sound generation. Alright, so the crux is this. And sometimes this happens with Readwise. It'll do this. Alright, so that's what it is. Conclusions. I think we should also read evaluations. FT open L3. 26. KL passed, collapse score, a low FT open L3. Implies that the generated audio is plausible and closely matches the reference. So a low FT open L3 implies close match. Shit. Just deleted it by mistake. We're going to just put up this note. A low FT open I3 implies a closer match. Alright. So a high collapse score denotes the generated audio adheres to the given text prompt. We use two evaluation sets, audio caps data set, and for sound generation and song describer data set for music. And we use two evaluation sets, audio caps data set for sound generation, and song describer data set for music generation. Sound versus music. Okay. Alright, I get it. So audio caps is being used to evaluate sound and song describer to evaluate music. Audio caps test contains 979 audio segments on YouTube, each with several captions. We generate an audio per caption, resulting in 408,075 generations. We use previous stable audio models as baseline. We also include audio LDM2, audio Gen as a reference as their most competitive open models available, but they might not be strictly comparable since they were trained on audio set. Okay, that's fine. It's washing over me right now because I don't know all the details. But that's the point today, is to just kind of go through it and see. Let me just make sure the stream is working fine on Twitch. It is. Alright. The goal today is to kind of just let it wash over us. Stable audio outperforms comparative baselines, particularly on FT OpenI3, which highlighting its potential to generate realistic sounds and field recordings. It outperforms comparable baselines. Potentiality of high fidelity sounds as this model outperforms comparable baselines on FB OpenL3 autoencoder evaluation. What just happened here? Let's go. Oh shit, there we go. There it is. Okay, so comparative comprehensive study and memorization. Okay. So this approach was used to take out repeated audio sections. Leon Clapp used to take out repeated audio sections. That's fine. We listen to the memorization candidates generated with prompts that are from the identified repeated data in our training set and did not find memorization. We also listened to the memorization candidates from 11,000 random prompts in the training set, did not find memorization. We even listened to memorization candidates from outstanding generations, did not find memorization. The most interesting memorization candidate, together with their closest training data, are online for listening. They include similar generation of well-defined sounds like storm or 1,000 hertz, but we did not find any memorization beyond that. Also note that our model only generates 47 seconds audio and cannot memorize longer audios. Alright, so current generation is, wait, model generates 47 seconds of audio? Is that what I'm reading right? Okay. That's fine. It is fine, my brother. Right. Finally, note that the primary objective of generative modeling is to create new content based on training data. Simply reproducing the training data indicates poor performance and is not interesting. I agree. Inference speed on various hardware. Our model runs 8 inference steps per second on RTX 3090, 24 GB VRAM, 11 steps per second on an RTX A6000, 48 GB, and 20 steps per second on H100. Conclusions. The article documents the release of Stable Audio Open with a particular focus on evaluation data transparency. Our results show its potential for synthesizing high-quality stereo sounds at 44.1 kHz. Further, just a second, comrades. Alright, it's fine. The article documents the release of Stable Audio Open with a particular focus on blah 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 blah. Further, we also release a continuous auto-encoder that operates at a low latent rate that can work for both audio and music. Our model is accessible to everyone and can run on consumer-grade GPUs and make it appealing for both academics and artists. So the conclusions are that it can generate high-quality stereo at 44.1 and that it can run on consumer-grade GPUs. Limitation called out here are our model finds it challenging to generate prompts with connectors and cannot generate intelligible speech. Okay, that's good to know. I'm just finishing my yogurt. Anyways, the Stony Brook right? Stonyfield yogurts are the best. It sometimes omits one or more of the sound present in prompts with connectors. A man speaking as a crowd of people laughs and applaud, where the generated sound implies a man speaking with mild background noise but with no laughter or applause. Also, speech generations are not intelligible because our model is not spoken word conditioned. Okay. Alright, that's on music. Also, there's other limitations as well, sorry. On music generation, note that most commercial music is copyrighted, that's right. However, our model was trained with limited high-quality music since we focused on CC, which is Creative Commons training data. As a result, it's not competitive against state-of-art music models. Good to know. On prompting, usually above limitation, prompt engineering may be required. For best result, further, it was mainly trained with English text and is not expected to perform better on other languages. Alright, that's a pretty good, I think, breakdown we've had so far. So if we open it in Reader, we have created 18 nodes. You can see this right here. Yeah, so, alright, that's pretty good for now. So let's do this. Let me open up Comfy UI. And we can get to work. Let's pull up Scott's YouTube channel. Let's see. Comfy UI tutorial. I wonder what comes up. I'm gonna guess Scott comes up very high. So Scott is actually the second one. That's interesting. Oh, also, let's try something new. Right? Okay. What sequence of tutorials would you recommend for me to learn Comfy UI? Alright, let's see what Perplexity says. Give me a second.
Sometimes I think, and then I forget. Sometimes I think,
Guys, I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to make some coffee so I can power through this. Alright, I'll be back in a few. Let me drop it in the chat.
Alright. I'm dealing with motion sickness for some reason. I don't know why. It's really wild. When I was going to my gym,
I
was getting ready to go to the gym, and I just all of a sudden feel like this insane motion sickness that I haven't felt in like 3 years. And it's just very wild. I felt like I was going to throw up. It was insane. Not fun.
Anyways, so where were we? So we were just looking at the stable audio paper that we went through. Just a high-level overview. We'll get into more detail of that tomorrow. Oh yeah, and then we were checking on Perplexity to see what Perplexity suggests. And if I want to follow a sequence of tutorials, what should I do to learn Comfy UI? What? My coffee didn't come out right. Alright, let me go set this timer again. Just a minute. Yeah, that's fucking 261 days. Jeez. Yeah, this is fucking quiet. Shit talking about. Not bad. Not the best coffee. Alright, sorry guys, it took me a while to make a decent coffee. Anyways, we're looking at Comfy UI. Trying to see what Perplexity thinks about tutorials. Interesting, what is this? Yeah, that's fine. We're just going to follow Scott's. Anyways, I have loaded up and I've created in the past let's see what Olivia says. Latent upscaling, image to image painting. Model switch. Okay, let's just go video by video. You watch two.
Hello my friends, how are you doing? In this part of the workshop we are going to talk about the latent image, more specifically the latent input into the K-sampler. Now this is one of my favorite parts of how to use AI because it is very simple and yet at the same time you can get a lot of variety and artistic expression out of that. To follow my workshop you can download my workflow on OpenArt. You see here there's a download button and above that you have a green button that says launch workflow where you can actually run my workflow in the cloud for free. When you click on that button it takes a little while and then it's opening up this window. As you can see here, everything I've built for you is in here. You don't have to download or install anything. This is completely prepared for you. Now, of course, the question is, what is actually a latent image? The images that you usually see on your screen, they are made from pixels. But AI can't really deal with pixels. It needs a different kind of format. So the pixels are encoded into latent points. Even though it's called a latent image, there is no image left. It's just a big pile of latent points. So let's start here with a little
One of the things I really love about mine and my wife's relationship is the fact that she told me we ended up together because she manifested it. I love that, because nothing makes a fella feel better than knowing some she-shaman meddled with free will by means of witchcraft in order to find a mate. And unlike the rest of us, who have to attract people by earnestly flirting and by exercising caution in order to suppress red flags, this witch lit a sage stick and prayed to Davis for my weenus. And so there I was, sitting at a bar with my clinical 20s, completely oblivious to the fact that I'm about to be blindsided by a Bette Midler spell that some date state conjured up by doing crystal math and some Drew's Magoo voodoo. And so I love my wife, and she is my soulmate. But I'll never know if it's me saying that or if it's some lemur demon who's got a hold of my boy loins just making me move it.
iteration of what we already have done last time. So here we have the simple text to image workflow. This is the most basic thing you can do. Over here we're loading the checkpoint, we have our two text prompts, they are going into the case sampler, and down here we have our empty latent image. It's empty because there's nothing in there. Then we have here our VAE. This is kind of optional, but I like the choice because for different models you can use different kinds of VAEs that work better with that model. And then here you can see we have the decode. And in this case it actually looks pretty good because we have a close-up of a person, so the face.
So this one we have done in the past. We have recreated this workflow.
Text to image workflow. This is the most, everything I've built for you is in here. You don't have to download or install anything. This is completely prepared for you. Now, of course, the question is, what is actually a latent image? The images that you prepared for you.
OpenArt.ai. Okay. Let's see. I'm just checking to see what can you do. Interesting. We will check this out. We shall check this out, inshallah.
Now, of course, the question is, what is actually a latent image? The images that you usually see on your screen, they are made from pixels. But I can't really deal with pixels. It needs a different kind of format. So the pixels are encoded into latent points. Even though it's called a latent image, there is no image left. It's just a big pile of latent points. So let's start here with a little reiteration of what we already have done last time. So here we have the simple text to image workflow. This is the most basic thing you can do. Over here we are loading the checkpoint, we have our two text prompts, they are going into the case sampler, and down here we have our empty latent image. It's empty because there's nothing in there. Then we have here our VAE. This is kind of optional, but I like the choice because for different models you can use different kinds of VAEs that work better with that model. And then here you can see we have the decode. And in this case it actually looks pretty good because we have a close-up of a person, so the face is pretty big and there are no very small details in here. So for that it works really beautiful, but sometimes you need a higher resolution, especially if you have a person who's smaller in the image. For example, here now I rendered a different image where we have the full body and now the head and the face are a lot smaller. But what you can also see in this case is that the face, because it is so small, doesn't really have good detail, and also it doesn't look very good. It looks a little bit deformed because there's just not enough information in here, but also because often the model of the AI is not trained to create images in such a small resolution in nice details. So for that we need to actually upscale the image. So I want to show you a process on how to do that. Now before we go to the next step, we want to disable this part here, this group, so it's not rendering images in the background and taking away our GPU power. For that you want to right click up here on this bar, and then you want to go and set it to bypass group nodes. Then you can see that everything here has turned pink. This to right click group nodes. Then you can see that everything here has turned pink. This means it's not going to be used. So now when you move this up, you will see that here you have the next group. For our example, this is the next workflow we are going to work with. So again, right click up here, but in this case, instead of bypass, you want to set group nodes to always. And as you can see now, all of them are active again. So in this case, when we look at the different nodes we have here, overall we are doing basically the same thing. We have here our checkpoint, we have our prompts, we have the empty latent image, and VAE, here is our case sampler, but now something different happens. Because now we have here upscale latent by, and then we have a second case sampler in here. Let's have a closer look at that process, and you will also notice there is a little bit of extra complexity in here. Now this is because I have here VAE decode in a preview, because I want to see what the original image looks like. Now this is very good because it can help me to decide if I actually like the image before I upscale that. Now here on the right side you can see you have this window, and in there you have a function that's called view queue. When you click on that you have running and pending. Now when you are starting to render the image, you see the preview down here, you don't like it. you can go in this running area and you can click on cancel for the image that is still rendering. So you're saving on time and on GPU power. Another thing to point out here about the process of decoding and having a preview of this is that you can basically, at any stage, at any point inside of ComfUI, create these little probes that show you what is happening. This can happen for images, it can also happen for text. So this gives you a preview inside of the process if the process is working correctly and you get the results you desire. So use these little tests here often, and then afterwards, if everything is working perfectly for you, you can delete these parts out of your workflow to make the workflow cleaner again. In this case, I keep it in here because I want to show you the difference between the image in the low resolution and then in the higher resolution. So let's look at the process here. We have here our K-sampler. The latent is going out into our upscale latent by node. Now, the upscale latent by node helps me in the sense that this is basically multiplying the width and the height. So I don't have to think about what is the actual size I want to have. I just have to think about by how much do I want to make the image bigger. Also, you have your upscale methods. I want to invite you to try around with them. Now, after, of course, we are sending this into the second K-sampler latent image input here. So here we have the second K-sampler. It is using the same model and the same prompts.
Let me just switch this out so I can actually lay my head back.